The Let My Vote Count Alliance has expressed apprehension over the Electoral Commission's handling of the ongoing proxy voting application process. The alliance said the provision a process that makes it open for both the applicant and the proxy to be able to pick the application form will open the floodgates for fictitious applications and foul play on the part of the Commission. The EC has announced the opening of applications for proxy voting on August 17, scheduled to run to September 26. This window allows eligible voters who are unable to physically be present at their polling stations on election day to vote. However, the Let My Vote Count Alliance, in a statement signed by its convener, David Asante, contended that exercise commenced hurriedly without any substantial public education on the process. So we're going on the phone line right now to speak with David Asante, convener of Let My Vote Count Alliance. Good afternoon, David, and thanks for agreeing to speak with us.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thanks for the opportunity too.
Okay. Now, David, you're concerned about the proxy voting, and according to what you have, they're shrouding the process in secrecy. Is that the case?
Thank you very much. I believe the ongoing proxy exercise is not just only an exercise that is shrouded in secrecy, but also has a lot of illegality surrounding the overall process, which does not really give confidence to the electorate in the election management body of this country. Now, the point is, there is a constitutional instrument which governs this election and this particular exercise of proxy voting. The Regulation 25 of CI 91 states it clearly that an applicant who wishes to cede his right of voting to another person must show up to pick form, fill the form with the proxy, and hand it over to the DEO, District Elections Officer. Let me run you through quickly. It reads, alternatively, the appointed proxy may pick the proxy form on behalf of the applicant to be completed and returned to the Commission's district office before the specified deadline of 26th of September 2016. This is not what the CI 94 Regulation 25 governing proxy voting says. I am the applicant, and for a reason best known to me, I think I may not be able to vote December 7th. The CI does not give me that right to cede the right to another person without my consent, who goes to pick the form, fill the form, submit it without my consent, then you accept it. Practical implication is that the 600,000 dead names on our register, if you have a wicked-minded political party, they can share 200,000 of those names to their members, and they vote on their behalf by proxy, because in any case, you don't need the consent of the applicant. If indeed there are foreigners on an electoral roll who may not be able to cross over to come and vote in this country on election day, and the political party has a list, all you do is, without the consent of those individuals living outside the country, you go and pick form. After all, the Electoral Commission's 16th of August release says that, alternatively, the other proxy person, not the applicant himself, but the proxy, can go pick form, fill, and submit. We think this is a serious window of opportunity for a wicked-minded political party, if there is any, to rig the election.
Okay,
if you
now
want to get 200,000 names from the ghost list or from foreigners list, and you share it among your followers, and they pick proxy form on the behalf of those individuals and vote for them on election day, you have rigged 200,000 votes through proxy exercise.
David,
and this is possible and it's doable.
David, have you expressed your concerns to the Electoral Commission or its communication office regarding the observations you've made?
We officially did a press release 2 days ago. We have spoken to the issue extensively. We are reliably informed there is an IPAC meeting this day ongoing, and that this is one of the issues the Electoral Commission hopes to address. In the interim, we are keeping fingers crossed. We have a couple of plans in place to really address this particular issue. But in the interim, we are hoping the EC will come out with a clearer scope as far as this particular exercise is concerned. Until then, it is an avenue for people to rig the election.
But did you get any positive feedback from them when you interacted with them, aside the IPAC meeting you're aware of?
Well, we hope the IPAC meeting will come out to address this particular issue, possibly halt the process, put proper measures in place to redo the proxy. If that doesn't happen by the close of today, the group will quickly reconvene and think about what next we have to do. But as it stands now, the whole proxy exercise being done by the Electoral Commission is purely premised on an illegality. They've turned upside down the ruling or the CI 94, the Regulation 25, which governs and states how the proxy exercise must be done. It's an illegality.
Another concern is a bit about publicity of this very exercise.
It is difficult to understand why the Electoral Commission brings out a press release on the 16th of August. And the next day, which is 17th, the Commission says we are commencing proxy exercise. You just can't understand what the Electoral Commission is up to. And for 41 days, we have to pick proxy forms for people who cannot vote. But limited registration exercise for first-time voters did not even exceed 21 days. What are we doing to ourselves? Something must be wrong somewhere.
Thank you very much, David Asante, convener for Let My Vote Count Alliance, for your time. And he was speaking about the EC's proxy voting exercise. We're doing our best to reach the Electoral Commission's head of communication, Kofi Japaso, and when we do reach him, we'll speak to him about that issue. But pressure group Let My Vote Count Alliance has expressed worry of what it calls a lack of transparency on the part of the Electoral Commission of Ghana in the ongoing proxy voting application exercise. Now, the Let My Vote Count Alliance is skeptical about the unusual way in which the proxy application is currently being carried out. According to the group, the usual practice under Regulation 25 of the CI 94 is that an eligible voter who picks up the application form to kickstart the process, yet in the ongoing proxy application exercise, the press release signed by the PRO of the EC makes it open for both the applicants and proxy to be able to pick up the proxy application form. And we're going straight to the phone lines to speak with Kofi Japaso, head of communication for the Electoral Commission. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon.
Now, have you in recent times interacted with the Let My Vote Count Alliance, and have they spoken to you about the current proxy voting process, which they are uncomfortable with?
Thank you very much. We haven't interacted and they've not spoken to us.
They haven't sent any form of written communication to you, to your office, no. I mean?
No, only chance upon their press release somewhere.
But has the proxy voting application process changed in any way?
Hello?
Can you hear me, sir?
I can.
I'm asking that has the proxy application process changed in any way?
Not in any way. It is the way it has been and it is according to the law.
Okay, because I just spoke to David, the convener for Let My Vote Count Alliance, and they did mention that they had reached your outfit and aired their concerns about the applicant and the person representing the applicant both picking forms.
Thank you very much. And picking the proxy forms, we came out with a press release on proxy applications for proxy. And we indicated in the release that the proxy may pick the form on behalf of the applicant. By saying he may pick on behalf, it implies that basically the applicant can also come to the office and pick forms. Applicant and proxy can come to the office and pick forms. And if for any reason the applicant is not there, the proxy will come and then pick forms. And by picking the forms, they are not in any way been processed and have been granted the right to vote by proxy.
And is the current process not a violation of the CI 94 Regulation 25?
Yes, I'm speaking to CI 94 on the processes for procedure for processing proxy applications. And we are saying that yes, if precisely because the applicant may not be around on election day due to maybe travel or maybe incapacitation. That is why it's applying the proxy. So if for any reason the applicant is not immediately available, the proxy may just come to the office and then pick a form. Now, after they pick the form, then the next stage and the most important stage of the process begins. They'll have to go and then what? Fill the forms. It's in quadruplicate. They will fill it with all their details, their names, residential address, polling station code, voters ID card number. Then we proceed from there to the most important stage in the processing of the application, where now both applicant and the proxy would have to appear in person at the district offices of the commission and then validate on the voters management software to find out whether indeed they are registered voters with the particulars that they put on the proxy forms.
And this has always been the norm?
That is the procedure. With the introduction of biometrics, it's not a matter of just picking the forms. You pick the forms, you send it. As for picking the forms, anybody can send anybody anywhere to pick a form for him or her. But you pick the form and you send it. Now the applicant must fill the form. The proxy and the applicant must fill the form together and sign. Now, in submitting the form, it is not only the proxy who comes. The two of them comes to the office, okay, where you have the applicant and you have the proxy, and the two of them will have to authenticate on the VMS. They will have to authenticate to establish that, yes, indeed, this is the applicant, he's a registered voter, and he's appointing this gentleman or lady to be his or her proxy. Okay, when we find out that their details meet the qualifications for a proxy, then we begin the process of processing them now for exercising the proxy vote. And
how effective has been publicity on this process?
This is a process which is in law, and it is known to all the stakeholders, and having released a press release, then we pick up with the publicity issue. You know, we have a lot of activities which go on and which are defined by the law, and considering all the processes and the procedures that we do in the office in preparing for the elections, we may not have the time to devote all the time to educating on proxy. Proxy has been with us since
But it's the right of Ghanaians to know. If you assume that everybody understands that this is a norm and within such a process it should take place, how do you expect the population to know that something like this, aside coming up with a press release, do you think it's enough to know that the process has started?
Haven't come out with the press release, and after we've come out with the proxy, we have engaged through the media and educated on this proxy, and whoever is interested, when you go to the district offices of the commission, the district officers who would engage you and educate you on the processes involved in the proxy. What Let My Vote Count is putting out there, it is not entirely accurate. It is not entirely accurate. Otherwise, going through for the proxy is a straightforward issue. You go and pick the form. By picking the form, let my vote count, saying somewhere that people can just go and pick the form, get processed the proxy, and they even end up voting in the name of the dead and voting for people who have not even appointed them to be proxies in the first place. It's just a matter of just picking a form and then saying that the proxy may pick the form for the applicant. And when they send it, the two of them will process it, then bring it to the office, where now the applicant and the proxy will be required to come and validate, okay, and authenticate on the machine, where their details will come out and will have the proof that, yes, indeed, this applicant is appointing this person as the proxy.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kofi Japaso, Head of Communications of the Electoral Commission.